Yeah, let's talk about the storylines and all things spring training. Today's the first Cactus League game of the season. The Dodgers versus the Chicago Cubs. The Padres open their preseason schedule. Cactus League game in Arizona against the Seattle Mariners tomorrow. Eric Greupner, the president and CEO of the Padres, broke the front office silence. They've been quiet the entire offseason, despite what everybody has talked about, the lack of action, the inertia in the front office in terms of adding to the roster, then the civil war with ownership. Eric Greupner spoke out, and he really had a lot to say, and I salute him for doing it. He says, we have built what we think can be a World Series team. And he's indicated we're projected to have a $2 million payroll. That will be the magic figure. That will be the figure. We're not going to demand it be cut. We're willing to pay that amount of money. We can pay that amount of money to have a potential World Series team. We think we can compete. He says, as it relates to the civil war in the front office with the Seidlers, nothing has changed. We're doing business despite the noise from the outside. He says the decline of the RSNs, the regional sports network, have definitely impacted Padre baseball. He says we have maxed out our revenue from TV, the alliance with MLB and the streaming package, thanks to the commissioner, and we've maxed out what we can create as a revenue stream in terms of fan support. This is what we're going to operate by. And he says people lose sight of the fact we are in the smallest media market in America. They're not a regional franchise. We're a San Diego County franchise, and yet we have the 10th highest payroll in Major League Baseball. I was pretty impressed. He answered virtually all the tough questions that we, the media, could throw at him. And he stood there and he just responded as to who they are, where they are, and what they're going to do. I wish they had spoken during the course of the winter, because this stuff would not have taken off and grown to the dimension it did, because they were very active right at the end of the offseason as it relates to adding 5 free agents. But it's interesting. I had an executive tell me A.J. Preller goes shopping at the $1.98 table at Dollar General. Okay. He obviously read what I wrote on my website and then obviously heard what I said, but he was complimentary. Is yes, A.J. Preller did go shopping at the $1.98 table, but he always finds players at the $1.98 table. So, I mean, I feel good about the makeup of the roster, the depth of the roster. They got questions to answer. Sure, who's going to be my left fielder? Who's going to be my everyday catcher? Do we have enough pitching if something happens to the top 4 starters? But I think collectively, I think it's a pretty good baseball team right now. And if some guys bounce back and have really superb seasons, or whoever the guy is in left field turns out to be the guy and can give you profile-based numbers, this can be a really good team. And it might well be a chase down the Dodger team and a team that goes a round or 2 into the playoffs. And once you get into the best of 5 or best of 7 series, and all bets are off the table because it's only those 5 games, nothing else prior, falls into the equation. So what's your take on what Eric Greupner had to say, the quotes I just gave you, which were really the hot button quotes, and the $1.98 table at Dollar General?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an upgrade over just the dollar level players. I like the way the Padres set up their presser outside at Peoria. They got that Padres banner in the background. Eric Greupner is smooth when he's facing an audience and the media. And you could just tell that he's a professional executive. They've kind of got all their talking points laid out, and you can kind of see some commonality in the talking points that he mentions, is what Preller and Schilt have also talked about. But one of the questions the media asked him is, are the Padres for sale? Are they going to be sold? And there's a lot of fans chirping about that. I mean, what's your take?
Emphatically, he said no. He said this, I think the direct quote he used, this is a generational asset for the Seidler family. We are going forward, business as usual. Nothing is going to deter us. That's our goal out there, which is obviously to get a World Series team. He says this franchise will stay an asset to the Seidler family. So that being said, other people have the opinion the value is too great right now not to consider selling it if the family doesn't want to run it. Eric Greupner says the family does want to run it. Period, exclamation point, end of conversation.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I like that whole idea of that generational thing that Peter Seidler talked about. But one of the things that Greupner mentioned is that, we're maxed out. We're maxed out on revenue. We're maxed out on payroll. And I kind of got the payroll angle, but it's shocking that we're maxed out on revenue. I guess it's just a matter of our TV deal. We're taking the best of what's available. But, if this is it, if we're redlining, for Padre fans, it'd be nice to have like a little bit more of a bump that we can go. But still, a top 10 team, this is a pretty damn good roster. If it wasn't for the Dodgers and all the people they're signing and building in their roster, I would say, hey, I feel really good going into this year.
Maxed out gross revenue because they're selling out the stadium, John. Maxed out gross revenue. They've raised ticket prices 50% in 4 years. There's not much higher they can go without getting a revolt from the fans. Now, gross revenue of Major League Baseball will continue to grow. So that means there'll be more money coming in from baseball, maybe the next TV contract, etc. But this is the volume of money that they have created at Petco Park, the volume of money they can bring in from John Q. Fan, from sponsorships, etc. So they're setting their payroll off that. 3 years from now, maybe the number gets bumped up, but $200 million for this marketplace. And again, I deal with all kinds of people in the media, management, ownership, and all that. I know the market value in dollars in terms of advertising and financial support's less now than it was 5 years ago pre-COVID. So this market has not been able to expand and grow. So I think they're doing a hell of a job. If they were sitting there with a payroll of $130 million, they were the freaking Minnesota Twins or the Cardinals refusing to spend money, then I think you'd have a right to really bitch. But to be the 10th highest team in one of the smallest media markets of all time. Now, as Greupner said in a side comment to me, you have to step aside and trust the commissioner as the TV contracts expire. And Rob Manfred has a new platform and a new set of ideas to put all the broadcasts under an umbrella of Major League Baseball, which might change the revenue share. You have to trust that Manfred's going to go forward and increase the volume of money that's coming in from media. And I think he will. I think when these TV contracts expire, after 27, you're going to see something radically different. And I don't know whether that's more network partners and different games of the week, or whether that's unique streaming content and certain games on streaming, which is a subscription thing, which puts more money into the big overall pot. I think whatever baseball on TV is going to look like in 2028 is probably going to be a little bit different than we have right now. So, but they're trusting this commissioner to go to the next level from a revenue stream standpoint. Does it make sense?
It does make sense. And I think, that whole market is evolving. It's a moving target. But what's interesting is he said that they're going to put on one game a week on like over the air, rabbit ears television. And at first I thought that was a feel good gesture to kind of fill some gaps where they don't have coverage so people can watch the game. But I'm wondering if that they're seeing that as another revenue source. I mean, probably not a lot of money, but it's something.
I would think my stations that I'm doing stuff for, either Fox 5 or KUSI, might be the one that he's alluding to. It would be a limited Saturday only package. It would be on free TV. It would be a carrot offered out there to the fan. Sample what we have. And then if you like what we have, you can go to Padres TV and the subscription package during the regular season, or obviously what the MLB packages are on cable. I just think it's offering something unique. It's going to be a one-time only thing. I would hope it's going to be on one of my stations on Fox 5 or KUSI. If they announce it within a couple of weeks, I told you so. That's what I hear. That's what I feel.
Hey, how about this, man? Let's have the game on KUSI. You can do the pregame, postgame. You can make it like a Charger Sunday, 8-hour broadcast.
Well, we'll worry about that bridge when we get to cross that bridge. But they're doing a lot of creative things, but they're maxed out. They're maxed out what they can charge. They're maxed out what they can bring in. And I think looking down the road, as revenues increase in Major League Baseball and Manfred comes up with the next TV contract, then we'll see maybe the ability to increase this payroll. But for this market size, this market's limitations in media partners, I think they're doing a pretty good job. But they got a good product on the field. If this was the last place, Oakland Athletics, Colorado Rockies, they probably can't say the same thing. These guys have taken it to the next level, kept it at this level despite the setback, despite the passing. I thought about this driving over here today, John. 2 years ago at this hour, we were talking about the death of Seidler, the loss of the $60 million Bally Sports TV contract, and the fact they owed the commissioner's office $40 million in luxury tax payments because of all the money Preller spent. And I remember saying to myself, how are they going to survive this with this man, this great man passing, and all these other business-related things. And by the way, they weren't a pennant contender at that point in time, so they kind of stayed the course. I'm not homing for anybody. I'm just telling you the facts as I view it right now. If you're a Padre fan, jump on board. Fans Forum chat boxes open. Are you optimistic? What's your reaction to the base, most important quotes that I got from Eric Greupner on the Cactus League Media Day get-together? Okay, so we go from